Pain heals. Chicks dig scars. Glory lasts forever.
Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Appreciate all your support. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Shout out to the 19. One thing I wanted to mention that I keep forgetting. Now, there are no videos there yet, but as you can see with when this started and what I talk about, this has basically become if not WNBA, a basketball channel. I do college here and there. Throw in the occasional pro. So what I am doing, what I'm trying to do is I started another channel that's going to be other sports, probably starting with mostly football. So if you are a football fan, consider subscribing to that channel. I'm going to start putting up videos there. It's CDS Sports Talk. Yes, that's what I changed. I changed the podcast to Talk, and of course, I left it at CDS Sports Talk. Hopefully, I'll remember to link it in. I'll put it the first comment that I'll pin at the top, and I'll link it there. Go ahead and if you're interested in other sports and you think, hey, this guy kind of knows what he's talking about, I enjoy this channel, maybe you go sub over there. But let's dig in. As you can see, Chicago Sky turns into a laughing stock after making latest WNBA trade decisions with Minnesota Lynx. So yeah, so I held off to the last possible minute to do my draft video. Go check that out if you haven't. And boom, right after, we still get changes because the Chicago Sky now have another first round pick. But here's the issue that people are having, right? They traded away. They thought so little of this draft class that they traded away the number 3 overall pick for Ariel Atkins when they really could have just re-signed Chennedy Carter, by the way, and kept the pick. And now they've went and got another pick, which I believe is the 10th or 11th. They have the 10th and 11th. Off the top of my head now, I can't remember which one was actually the Lynx and which one was the Sky, but now they have the 10th and 11th picks. But what they gave up was next year's pick of their own. It wasn't a swap. It wasn't a swap with Minnesota's pick. It was this year's Minnesota pick for next year's Chicago Sky pick. So what's the problem with that, you say? Well, again, they gave up the number 3 pick already because they thought so little of this draft. And you have seen players like Olivia Miles, Johnson and LSU staying in school. And yet next year's draft, which is supposed to be much deeper, and of course is now also going to have those players, they gave up their first round pick and they gave it to the Minnesota Lynx. And if they don't have a very good year this year, that could be quite a high pick for Minnesota. So you got a lot of people saying what I'm basically saying as well. I have to say, I'm agreeing with a lot of these comments, and it's like, what are the Chicago Sky doing? We know they were a disaster last year because Weatherspoon focused on Angel Reese instead of focusing on winning and focusing on Kamilla Cardoso being the player who got the touches inside and posting her up and using her game and playing an inside out game with Chennedy Carter, which would have been a lot more effective than what we saw. And now they go and get rid of next year's pick in what is probably a deeper draft for another mid. I mean, it's not even a mid. Like, I think it says it in here is a mid pick, but it's not, right? It's like they can't decide what it is they're trying to do. Are they a contender now, or are they rebuilding? If you're rebuilding, yeah, you want draft picks, but it makes no sense to give up, if you have the number 3 pick, to give that up and then give up next year's pick to get an end of the first round, right? That's the thing. Don't forget, only 12 picks. I know we have Golden State, but there's, I think the Aces don't have a first round pick because of the trouble they got into. So there's only 12 picks. So giving up, picking 10th and 11th, that's the end of the first round. And next year's first round pick could be quite high. If the Chicago Sky don't play well this year and they were 13 and 27 last year, that Minnesota Lynx pick from the Sky could be what? Top 4? Top 3 or 4? It's going to be in the top half of the first round if Chicago Sky have another season like last year. So now Chennedy Carter's gone. So it's kind of wild. They replace the coach. So And with that Ariel Atkins, as you see here, it wasn't just, they gave up the 3 pick, which they did. They also gave up a 2027 second round pick and the rights to swap 2027 first round picks. So if the Chicago Sky were to have a high first round pick in 2027, they would lose that as well. Now they would still have a first round pick because of the Mystics, but they're probably not going to have a high first round pick next year or the year after. So people are like, what's going on? As you can see here, Megan Hall reported Chicago Sky acquired the number 11. Okay, the Lynx had 11, Sky already had 10. There it is. In the 2025 WNBA draft, in exchange, Chicago and Minnesota agreed to end the Lynx right to swap the team's 2026 first round draft pick. Okay, so it was a swap before. Now it's not. So now they don't have to give up. So it was before the Minnesota was going to basically get the worse, the lesser of the 2 picks next year, but now that's not the case. So now they have their own and Chicago's, if I'm reading that right. Correct me in the comments, but that's what in looking around and before I did this video, that's what I'm saying. Minnesota will have their own pick and Chicago's pick. So it's kind of wild. It's kind of wild that they did that, but you've got people who are not too happy about it, right? They'll move. Oh, I think this is the thing where I was talking about. I think they talk about it here too. Yeah, the 2026 WNBA draft is supposed to be stacked with names like Lauren Betts, Awa Pham, Kiki Rice, Olivia Miles, Johnson at LSU, of course. So, as this person says here, dumb move. Dumb move. The WNBA legend Rebecca Lobo once put it perfectly. Teams that have an opportunity, this is what I was saying earlier, actually. Teams that have an opportunity to win a championship do their work through free agency. Teams that are rebuilding do their work through the draft. The Sky, firmly in rebuild mode, seems to be defying that logic. Instead of hoarding draft assets for a talent-rich 2026, they're banking on a mid-first rounder now. One can almost hear the collective sigh from Sky fans at Wintrust Arena, which, by the way, would have been another thing to do with that number 3 pick, is sign Chennedy Carter so you don't have to get Atkins, and you could trade that 3 pick this year for a Mystics pick next year. Right? Look at what the Mystics did. They have 3 of the top 5. There's the top 6. Well, 3 of the top 5 or 6 picks in this year's draft. That's the type of thing Chicago needed to do. So wait, do the Lynx now have 2 picks in the 2026 first round, their own in Chicago's? Yes. Okay, so that it confirms it here that is correct. So the Lynx, which again we know already a team contending for a title, now have 2 first round picks in the draft next year, which is a much deeper draft. So shout out to Cheryl Reeve. I'm not a fan of Cheryl Reeve, but she does know her basketball, so that's going to be interesting. She's loving this, so it's going to be interesting to see how this goes. Side note, since I brought her up because of the whole Chicago thing, let me know your odds on Chennedy Carter getting into the league this year. That's kind of wild, but anyway. So I'm going to leave it there. I just thought, yeah, I don't know. This is not a great decision by the Chicago Sky. I don't think I'm in agreement with some of these fans are like what they don't seem to be able to decide what it is they're doing, what type of team they are this year. And that's just making a huge mess for them for the future. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Appreciate this as always. Don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Go check out the new channel. It'll cover other sports, like I said, mostly football probably to start, and we'll see how it goes from there. I really do appreciate it, and I will talk to you later.